What words in Jiminey Cricket's Corner?
When you get in trouble and you don't know right from wrong. When you get in trouble and you don't know right from wrong. When you get in trouble and you don't know right from wrong.
Bitch, how motherfucker dare you come on? When you get in trouble and you don't know right from wrong, give a little whistle. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Jiminey Cricket's Corner, learning to take my own advice. So we've talked about a couple of things so far, and as you guys know, well, for those of you guys who do not know a lot about the show, it actually is a place where I can come in, answer some of you guys' questions, while also telling about some of my own life experiences and be able to share with you some of the things that I'm going through, as the days go by. So, as I was saying, we've talked about a couple of issues, but one of the things that I really wanted to discuss was fear. Now, I think fear plays a role in all of our lives, but I think the difference that you see between people is how they actually deal with said fear. So, let's go ahead and start off with what I believe fear is. Now, I'm going to shout out my dad with this. My father always said that fear essentially is your mind making you aware of all the possible outcomes that happen when a situation arises. So, of course, sometimes some of our fears can be a little extreme, while others can be a little bit more realistic. But again, these are all things that happen when our mind kind of goes into overload or into freak out mode, as I like to call it, and starts to think of all the possible things that can go wrong when you go to a certain phase of your life or are approached with a certain situation. I know as a young kid, this was something that I struggled with a lot. Anything that kind of popped up in my life or showed even the slightest little bit of, what's a good word that I'm looking for, pushback, or something that showed difficulty, I essentially would kind of, tuck back into my turtle shell, if you will. I was always big in feeling comfortable, and a lot of times it's those places that you feel comfortable at that stop growth. So I know even this was something, even as up to when I started to lose my sight, this was something that I struggled with throughout my life as well. If it was from moving or learning new skills or meeting people or, whatever the case was, it was just always so much easier to be in a comfortable place because it was like you knew what was around the corner. Whereas when you venture into a new phase or into a new lifestyle, you really kind of don't know what's around the corner. And I've talked to a good group of my friends about this, you always hear of a lot of people who will stay in maybe a certain place or hang out with a certain crowd of people or maybe participate in certain types of events because that's what they're used to. And to pretty much pluck them out of wherever they're at and force them to get used to something that's new, typically it's, earth-shattering or shell-shocking for them because, again, like I said earlier, it's like you don't really know what's around the corner or what to expect. So you'll get a lot of people who will stay in those same situations, even if those situations can sometimes turn out to be a little toxic for them. They'll stay there just simply because they know what's around the corner. Like I said, this is something that I struggle with even throughout me learning how, to navigate even with my blindness. Having been sighted for the majority of my life and then having to learn or get accustomed to new ways of doing things or seeing things, I guess, or learning how to live life, and having to go off of just faith or hoping and praying that things will be where they're supposed to be or that people are going to do what they're going to do can somewhat be kind of scary. And I think in situations like that, fear can easily take over when, things are a little bit unfamiliar to us. A situation always rises up in my head because, again, I'm the type of person where if you allow me to be comfortable, I will. And I will completely just sit in that little comfortable spot and nuzzle right on in and have no problems with it. But a certain instinct comes to my mind. I had a mobility instructor, And one of the main things that I remember being terrified about was learning how to cross the street. So again, for those of you guys who do not know, I am total. So everything for me is black. I have no color, no light perception, nothing. Everything for me is just black. And so imagine being taken to a street, and a busy street at that, and having to learn to cross the street. You know, it's like sensory overload. It smells and sounds, and the wind is blowing, and you're having to pay attention to this and block this out. And it was just crazy. And then having to deal with that fear of, well, what if I step out onto the street and then I get hit? Or what if somebody's not paying attention? You know, am I going to give myself enough time? Am I walking quick enough? Am I walking in a straight line, or am I veering off into traffic? And it was funny because I believe that my mobility instructor saw that and was literally, you guys, and no joke, as she's trying to convince me to go out into the street, or even try to tell me the benefits of learning the skill, she literally had to put her hands on my back and push me out into the street. And the crazy thing is, I think, but in telling that story, most people are gonna be like, well, wow, literally she pushed you out into an intersection. But don't you know, once she did that, I crossed the street at least for a good 30 minutes for the rest of the day. And it was just amazing because that feeling of accomplishment, or that adrenaline rush after being able to do it, and recognizing that, wow, I can do this. All that time that I spent, you know, literally hugging the stop sign or the crosswalking symbol, waiting for that one opportunity to cross the street, now seemed like a distant memory. You know, now I will say this, I am definitely probably different than a lot of other people. You know, I'm one of those who has to be pushed in certain situations, that is. And I think as I get older, I'm recognizing that and learning how to combat that. But yeah, I'm definitely one of those. So, you know, hey, you or somebody else may not necessarily be one of those types of people. But with these videos, I always try to say, you know, along with talking about some of the struggles that we go through, I definitely like to be able to sit back and help you guys as well. So I would definitely say my first bit of advice would say, know you. Like how I just got sent, just like how I got finished saying that I know I'm the type of person that has to be pushed. Know what your boundaries are. Know what type of help or motivation that you need. Because once you figure that out, then you'll know exactly what you need to be able to go forward. Now, luckily for that period of my life, I had to have somebody to push me, figuratively and literally. But I think when I started to recognize that, now I know within myself what I can do and what I need to do to be able to cross over those boundaries, or to be able to get over that hump that is fear that we're discussing now. So now I know how to better accommodate, or better go into a situation knowing that 9 times out of 10, this is going to be something that is probably going to be a little bit fearful for me to be able to accomplish. The second bit of advice, and again, this is just for me, you guys, usually it's that first step that seems like you're literally stepping off a cliff. And I think a lot of times once we can get in our head that first step is not as bad as it seems, once you take that first step and you look back, you start to go, wow, I spent so much time dreading and fearing and, you know, procrastinating that one first step. And now that I've done it, it's nothing. You look back on it like, well, God, why did I waste so much time? Y'all, I spent months and months dreading. And my parents will tell you. Okay, sorry about the interruption, you guys. So again, you ask anybody who knew about that phase of my life, and I dreaded crossing the street. Absolutely dreaded it. And it was just this phase of my life that I was just like, I'll never be able to get past. But once I was able to look back and see, wow, you know, look at that one little step that caused me so much dread and, like I said, procrastinating, and, you know, helped me up from my growth, you start to learn to say, okay, you know what? I got to get a new game plan going forward. And last but not least, and I guess my last little bit of advice for you guys, like I said earlier, know where you're at. Don't let anybody else's, you know, progression or growth make you feel like you have to go faster or that you need to slow down. I've been in situations before where, I may not do something because of maybe a fear that somebody else may have had. Well, I'm scared of you to take the bus. And essentially because they were scared, I would let their fear transfer over to me and then I wouldn't do it. Or even on the other side, to have somebody say, well, hey, I can, fly a plane. You should be able to fly a plane. If you're not ready to fly a plane, for sake of example, then you're just not ready for that. A lot of it is just knowing who you are and what you're ready for and being able to accept that and then go on forward. So again, like I said, fear is definitely there. Like I said earlier about my dad, it's there in a way to, like I said, and sometimes it can be a little realistic and sometimes it can be a little bit, outlandish. But essentially, I do believe that fear is there to educate us. What is fear going to do to you? Is it going to make you stand up and say, okay, yeah, those things can happen. Yeah, I could step out into oncoming traffic. Yeah, I could, veer off in the wrong direction. But what are you going to do? Are you going to let that immobilize you and say, okay, well, hey, I guess I just won't ever cross the street again. I'll just stay on this little city block and hope for the best. Or will you say, yeah, those are all possibilities, but I want to move forward. So let me prepare myself and make sure that I do what I need to do to make sure that those things don't happen. So, as I draw this to a close, excuse me. I don't know why it's early in the morning, you guys. You guys got to bear with me. Again, like always, I help you guys out. And again, if you guys have any questions or anything you guys want me to discuss, please don't hesitate to hit the channel up. Again, it's blind_justice, the way I see it. Blind, BLIND, the symbol _ JUSTICE. And, hit me up. I don't mind helping, or hey, even giving you guys some experience that I've had with some of those issues as well. But I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye. Hey guys, this is Dominic, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in to some more of my content. But if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my Facebook page, Blind Justice. See you guys on the next go round.